Have you ever dreamed of breeding cats to fight trash cans, bugs, and even some ghosts? Or maybe raising a terrifying mutant cat, digging through a dirty cardboard box and finding a human heart? Or being the owner of a giant mountain sized cat with a bucket on its head that eats rocks to grow stronger? No? Well, now you will. Lean back and get comfortable, because today we are diving into a strange but incredibly captivating roguelike called Mewgenics. And I can tell you with utmost confidence, it has a lot to offer, and you will be thrilled if you try it. The developer behind this game is known for a very distinct art style, the kind that looks like it was drawn by a middle schooler, and yet, somehow, it fits perfectly in his bizarre creations. They're imaginative, grotesque, unsettling, and weirdly brilliant. Poop, guts, fetuses, larvae, that's basically his trademark. And I've always been amazed at how, despite how off-putting it all looks, he keeps making games that are so deep and so compelling. So let's take a closer look at what Mewgenics actually is and why you should care. What makes this game push the roguelike genre to its limits? First of all, it's gradual progression. The game starts by giving you almost nothing, just the bare minimum. You experiment with a few mechanics before it suddenly opens the floodgates and throws a pile of new systems at you. That slow ramp up gives you room to actually understand the foundation the rest of the game is built on, without overwhelming you with all of the systems at once. The gameplay itself is split into two phases, the run and the transition. During a run, you fight, loot, and survive. Afterwards, you return home with your rewards and manage your units, planning the next attempt. That contrast between chaos and preparation keeps your experience fresh and makes sure you actually have some level of control in the whole randomness that is eugenics. At the start of each run, you're given 4 cats. Each one has a class that you're free to assign yourself. These classes have their own pool of starting abilities and key passive traits, which are gonna expand later, of course. And those passives, they often define your entire tactical approach to this cat and to the battle. As your cats level up, they gain more abilities, shaping a distinct playstyle for each unit, and for your squad as a whole. Every level gives you a choice between 4 abilities. Over time, builds start to emerge naturally, but it doesn't mean that they will always make sense. You will also find equipment, 5 slots per cat. Some items are simple stat boosts, others can completely redefine how a character works or straight up become a threat to you. For example, here's an item that gives +1 to all stats, but the unit is now controlled by AI instead of you. That's the kind of trade-off this game loves. On my very first run, I got a cat with a bizarre combo of abilities that became completely broken almost immediately. One passive increased magic damage every time I cast a spell, and the cat's innate ability? Do nothing, for 1 mana. So I just kept casting nothing, over and over, stacking damage nigh infinitely without any external help. And here's where it led. Alright, maybe I over-exaggerated a bit, but you get the idea. I just have to remind you, that was my first run. Now imagine what happens in longer ones, with more unlocks. Along the way, you will encounter treasure, strange events, and decisions that either empower your cat or burden them with weird restrictions. One of my favorites? A cat eats something disgusting in an alley, and your entire team is suddenly fully healed. And this is where the chaos really begins. The game throws something unexpected at you, and you adapt. Either you become stronger, or the game slams you into the ground and ruins your run completely. The combat itself is tactical and played on an isometric grid. Depending on the location, the battlefield might contain environmental hazards you can use creatively. There's broken glass that damages units who step on it, and tires that knock everyone around them away. There are also some harpoons that pull in anyone who ends their turn in front of them, and many more. You get the idea. All of this adds another layer of complexity. You're not just stacking raw damage, you're building around the environment itself. Because of all of these systems, every run feels chaotic and not always controllable, but within that chaos, insane combinations start to form. For example, here's my tank, bouncing across the battlefield 3 times in one turn, landing in the middle of enemies and knocking them around. Here's my fighter, launching enemies into orbit for a turn. Tell me that's not hilarious. I'm not gonna believe you and you're lying to yourself. I mean, just look at it. Here's also my hunter laying traps for both enemies and allies. And here's my rogue, dreaming of sneaking behind someone and throwing a handful of nails into their backs. So what do we have overall? Different classes, unique builds, combat shaped by enemies, locations, and hazards, random events constantly shifting your strategy. Pretty cool, right? And that's not even mentioning enemy variety. Each location has its own pool of enemies, many of which are locked behind unlockable content. So even when you revisit familiar areas, which you will do a lot, new surprises will be waiting for you. Meet certain conditions, and you unlock new weapons, new enemies, new classes, and new location. That constant sense of discovery is what keeps me coming back. I always want to see what's next. After each run, you will return home. You can carry certain items forward for your next run. Then, your cats will breed. You manage genetics, try to create offspring with specific stats, skills, or even useful mutations. At first, it's simple. Assemble a team, send them out. But as you progress, more systems open up, letting you craft powerful combination before a run even begins. This approach rewards planning and preparation. And of course, that doesn't come without risks. The cats can fight and injure each other and many more, but I don't want to spoil much. Discovering those systems for yourself is part of the magic. Alright, and what about the bosses? There are plenty, each with their own gimmicks. A mouse throwing bombs, a wizard cat casting area spells, a shapeless pile of manure trying to shove you off the map. You have probably realized by now that this game thrives on unpredictability, so instead of explaining more, let me just show you. Yep, that's right. They've killed each other. There is also a funny occurrence if you try to alt F4 during combat to avoid losing the run from some unwanted mistakes. When this happens, Steven comes to have a chat with you, and I am sure you see that you don't want to mess with the guy. This caught me off guard as I started the game after a rage quit, and I had a good laugh about it. Even the sound design fits perfectly into this surreal atmosphere. Before long, you get used to the absolute mess happening around you and learn to deal with the catastrophes. Yeah, catastrophes. Seriously though, give it a try. Even if the art style turns you off at first. This game is far deeper than it looks. It may seem messy or gross, but if you look past that, you'll find something genuinely special. Now really, go try it. Stop playing Valorant for a minute, will you? Now let's return to the question from the beginning. How does Mewgenics pushes the roguelike genre further? Through chaos, through freedom, through the ability to create insane combinations and experiment with hundreds or even thousands of items and builds, through making you want to revisit the same locations, knowing there are still secrets left to uncover. There's nothing quite like the feeling of turning what seemed like uncontrollable chaos into a crushing victory. And in my opinion, Mewgenics captures all of that in its own uniquely twisted way. A tactical roguelike about mutant cats fighting in a dumpster. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear about your favorite moments or the craziest builds you've managed to create, so let me know in the comments. If you had some fun, consider subscribing and leaving a like, it really helps the channel grow. I'll see you next time. I'm off to play some more games, we still have a lot to cover.